Hi, I wanted to come in for a moment. I've been trying to decide what I was going to do with this vanity that I bought off of like a Facebook marketplace a few weeks ago. I started on a few things with it and then just could not make up my mind exactly what I was going to do. I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can get it in there. I decoupage some light pink striped paper to the front and some bright pink with polka dots for the surprise as that comes out of the drawers here. I always like the little drawer surprise. And I actually bought some cute hardware at Hobby Lobby. I don't know if you can see this. Let me see there. That sort of has a pink tint to it. But I've about decided that's not what I'm going to use. This is the original hardware that came on it. And it's sort of like an antique brassy look. And there you have two of these drawer pulls. And then we have the big drawer that goes on the bottom. And it has a bigger handle. And I think I'm going to try to put golden ticket on these and see what happens. I've been trying to decide whether to leave this top with the brown or whether to paint it, whether to do just paint stripes and the insets. But what I've finally decided to do is I'm going to use petticoat pink over the body of the piece. Haven't decided 1000% on this yet, but just as an FYI, there's a couple of screws underneath. I used my handy dandy little Craftsman screw gun here and removed that, and then there's a couple of pegs up there. So I'm going to remove that so that I can right now go ahead and do the golden ticket on the top surface. I'm going to go ahead and wipe that off in case any dust or anything got underneath it. I'm a little bit short doing it from this direction, but I'm excited to use the golden ticket on there. I may come back and I'll decide this afterwards, and I know we won't be here for all of it, but this has a decent amount of detail through the front of it here, and I may come back with the golden ticket in that. But right now I'm going to put the golden ticket liquid patina. Can you see that? For right now I'm going to put that on the top, and then I'm going to go with pink on the petticoat pink on the rest of the piece. So we'll see if this is going to be enough gold to give it the kind of the look that I'm going for a little girl, so it has a little bit of a vintage look to it, yet a little bit of fanciness at the same time. Oh, it's beautiful. I'm so excited. This is coming out better than I thought it would. And I don't know why I waited so long to try to decide whether to go with white, whether to stay with the pink, exactly what I was going to do. I really thought for the longest time that I was going to stay with the white and just use the pink on the like in the crevices and things like that. I don't want to have to stand on the ladder here, but I wanted this to be where you could see it too. So I'm not gonna stay and keep a whole lot of your time here, but I wanted to go over this whoops a little bit, and then let you see how the golden ticket works, how using the brushes from Paint Pixie, which I absolutely love as well, how smooth they smooth that on. The golden ticket is actually a liquid patina. You can put this, I'm using it by itself right now as a paint on this top surface, but it's also a product that you could use to put just a little bit of a golden patina on top of any other color that you may have already painted. On these Paint Pixie brushes, I don't know if you can see from that, see if I can get it close enough up there, that we're just putting the paint on, or the patina, just on the tips. You don't want it to go way up into your ferrule and be a pain in the patootie to try to clean off later on. On my tippy toes here trying to get this done, and impatient. So I'm always keep in mind that everything I do is not what you want to do. Sometimes I'm teaching you what you don't want to do, because that's life. All of us get in a little bit of a hurry now and then, and I'm not here trying to teach any kind of perfection. I'm here teaching my version of the best I can, and I do hope that you're able to learn a little bit from my mistakes just as well as from the experience I have from using the products. The back of that is painted white already, so I don't think I'm gonna mess with that. But I do want to see. Normally you don't go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over your paint. But like I said, this is a liquid patina. I'm going to start at this end and come all the way through to try to keep my brush strokes even, and so that whenever it dries, it will not dry with cray brush strokes all over it. Do you have any projects that you're interested in painting? Is there anything that you would like to learn more about? This is my first experience. The DIY paint is my first experience with the clay-based paint. I used to make my own chalk type paints at home, and to tell you the truth, they're not near as good. I was thinking I was being cheap. I was being cheap, and it does work, but it's not as controllable, it's not as trusting, it's not as good as using the products that you know that somebody else has already put all of the time and effort into to make sure that they have the right consistency and the right I don't know what other words, the right proprietary formulations, I suppose. This is all natural. That's important to me. I mean, obviously on a health food store, it's important to me that that any products that I use be safe and be not just safe for the environment, but safe for my family and safe for whatever child ends up with this vanity afterward. It's important to me that there not be toxic elements on there that could harm them. I just rinsed out my brush in a little coffee cup of water. I've got my piece sitting on poster boards here because that's what I had, and my tables are still new and not messed up yet underneath here. These are our classroom tables, and I didn't want to mess them up yet, so I put some poster boards that I had under there. Now I've rinsed out my brush, and I'm sort of going, probably didn't do as good a job as I should have, going over my washcloth that I keep here to try to get any excess out of it. I you know, wouldn't hurt to have had another brush here handy, but I don't have another brush here handy. I forgot my brushes at home today, so I allowed myself to open a new one to use here for this project today, and I don't want to take every brush I have in inventory for myself because I would be liable to do that if I'm not careful. So I believe I got enough of the golden ticket off of there. And now I'm going to use the petticoat pink. I don't know if you can much see that, but maybe once it gets on the piece a little bit. I just saw Candy, my daughter, walk through a minute ago. If she comes back through again, I'm going to grab her and have her get me some clean water. But in the meantime, here I go. Should have got myself a spray bottle to have. The clay paint works very, very well whenever you have extra, shoot, got it on the gold part, but I can touch that up. That's okay, those are things that happen. I need a little water, and this water has golden ticket in it. Excuse me. I just happened to have a cup on my desk that had a little bit of water in it. What I'm going to do is dip my brush. I dried it off quite a bit whenever I was trying to get all of the golden ticket off of there. And I'm just going to dip the tip of my brush down into this water to get it a little more damp, to help the paint to flow a little bit better. And let's start again. This very well could be another one of those learn what not to do from me experiences, but it's not that I'm not trying. I don't know, you know, how much of the back of my head that y'all were intending on looking at, but I'm doing my best here, so I hope that's good enough. Okay. I'll probably put 2 coats of the DIY paint on here. So today I'll get this first coat on here real quick. A good coat. The one thing I learned from a painter a long time ago was to always work from wet to dry, never from dry to wet. That's the one tip that my friend Mary, who's been a painter for many, many years, a professional painter, a wall painter, that type of painter, not a furniture painter or anything. But the tip that she gave me many years ago was always work from your wet to dry. That's the only tip she had to give me, and I've tried to work with that the best I could since then. And I'm trying to make sure I get down in these crevices really good. So do you have a paint project that you're working on? Have you tried the clay-based paints, the chalk paints? What is your favorite paint to use up to this date, and sort of why? Why is that your paint? I used to use what we use on our house in big project walls, furniture, not furniture, but well, furniture too actually, has always been Sherwin-Williams. I've always have believed that using a quality paint is important. And for our house paint and that fence paint and interior, exterior wall paint and all those things, I use Sherwin-Williams. And that's the paint that I used to add the plaster of Paris to. There, got it on there again. But remember, I'm putting a second coat and I can touch that up. That is a high quality paint that we use in our home. And that's what I was adding the plaster of Paris to. Would I recommend that to anybody else now that I've tried the DIY paints? No, probably not. I would say go ahead and start directly with the good paint that's not going to have to go through testing of what in the world is going to work. This has already been done for us. There's already Debbie Beard, the lady that owns the DIY paint company, has already perfected the formula that goes with the DIY paint, so we don't have to worry about, am I adding too much, am I adding too little, is this finish going to last, what kind of wax do I use, am I mixing the wax right, have I put it on there right, have I waited the right amount of time? All of that's taken care of you already when you're with these paints. Trying to stick with my story here of the work from wet to dry. We are. That's Candy. You see, kind of going back and forth. That's okay. That's what we're here for. This is the truth going on in this room, girlfriend. Candy is with Sew and Love Couture, also here in the Artisan Market, and someone brought in a blouse yesterday that she really, really loves and would like to have another one like. And Candy's looking to see if she'll be able to find a pattern or create a pattern similar to the shirt that the lady brought in, so that the lady will be able to have more than one color of her favorite, best fitting blouse. That's one of the benefits of having someone take your measurements and make your clothes, or if you have something that's several years old or that someone's given you and you can't get another one like it anymore and it's your favorite. That's one of the benefits with Sew and Love being here, is Candy is the seamstress. She will make that happen for you if she possibly can. Let's see, I got a couple of comments. Hey, Juanita. she sees you, Candy. Say hi to Juanita. Juanita, you need to come up here and we'll go into the photography room and take your pictures. Candy and I both have really good camera, and you need to have a picture on your your account page. We always know it's you because it says Juanita. Juanita is one of our favorite. She's not really a customer anymore. She's more family around here. Juanita's one of our people. She's a people here.
Yes, and one of our longest customers. I believe she's been a customer since pretty much day one. So
yeah,
for 10
so about
years.
10 years. Juanita's been part. I think she was at your baby shower for She
did. She came. Her and her daughter both came to my baby shower.
So Juanita's kind of like family here. She comes and has coffee with us 2 or 3 times a week at least, if as often as she can. I know, and we enjoy. Makes our day to get to see her. She always has something nice to say. Don't you love being around that kind of person? Where when you walk in the door, Juanita's going to be there saying, "Boy, you look nice today." That kind of makes my day. Thank you, Juanita. Do you have any projects that you are interested in working on? I know we're waiting on some sign classes to. I think Saturday after next we're going to have a sign class with Favored Nest with Amy Fazio. And we're still waiting to hear back from Masterpiece by You on the painting classes. But we are looking for interest on that. So if you are interested, if you're interested in furniture painting classes like this, or if you're interested in sign making classes, picture painting classes, whatever it is that you're interested in as a painting type creative outlet, let us know. And if one of us knows how, we will share that information with you very happily, because if we're getting to do our fun craft, we're happy too. When I was a little girl, I thought, and it may have been true, maybe not, I thought all the little rich girls had vanities like this. I guess because on TV they did. Like, we had a lot of TV. I think we had 3 channels back then, ABC, CBS, and NBC, where I lived. I used to go visit my cousin Kurt in Lake Charles, and whenever I found out that they had cartoons every afternoon and not just on Saturday mornings, I thought I was definitely deprived. But now I know cartoons aren't everything, and I can watch them anytime I want. Times have changed since then too. But now I can also find a painting class like this, and anything that interests you is available now. But that's what, with the artisan market, that's what we're hoping to do, is to help sort of create a creative atmosphere, a creative outlet for women and men and children, I guess, and anybody who has an urge to be more creative but doesn't yet have confidence in themselves, to just jump in there and do things on their own. Well, we want to be that resource for you, where you can see us just jump in there and do it on our own and make a mistake and see that we lived through it, and you can learn from our mistakes, and we'll do our best to always lead you in the right direction. There, just as it is in the health food store, anytime that I'm going to recommend a product, it's because I've tried that product and I like that product. And the same thing with any, I don't know if you would say procedure, but any, I don't know what word you would use, any way of doing things. If I recommend it, it's because I tried it and it wasn't too hard and it was still fun. Because sometimes you can decide you want to do things and then it's so complicated or so expensive or so much to it that it's really doesn't seem like it's worth all the hassle there. So that's my job, is to go out and find a way for us to all get to do the fun things and make the pretty things without having to spend a bundle. I'm going to look for and find a way to find somebody to help us know how, as if we were an expert. Well, I made a mess right there. There's some, this is one tip. Remember I told you I wasn't going to do this back part because it was already painted white in the golden ticket, but some dribbled down when I wasn't looking. And the golden ticket is absolutely gorgeous up there. I'm so pleased with that. I'm switching to the French round brush now. This is also a Paint Pixie brush, but I know me, and my hands aren't as steady as they used to be, and if I'm trying to do the back of this little bitty ledge right here and not get petticoat pink on top of my golden ticket, then I need a little bit of a point to the end of my brush. You don't have to start this kind of painting with the Paint Pixie brushes. I love them, and I'm glad that I did make the switch. Hold on one second. This is, now my husband abused this one. I'm going to bring this up here to show you. I did not abuse this, but this is my favorite brush, so I know this was my brush to begin with, and he stole it and used it. Although that paint that's on there right now might be the new color of our front door that I did yesterday here at the Artisan Market. But this is a Purdy brush, P-U-R-D-Y. I got this at Sherwin-Williams, and if this was up the way it's supposed to be, has a little bit of a point up on one end. It sort of comes out this way, and it's just been, he ripped me off of it and hid it down in his barn, and I found it and took it back. But I have about a half a dozen of these, and I've been using these for over a decade. I could just as well be using that for this petticoat pink right now. But the difference with these, with these paint pixie brushes is, for one, they hold a tremendous amount of paint. Whenever I was working on that door yesterday, although I painted my door at home, and I used a better condition, one of my little pretty brushes. They're the size that fits my hand to do that, and a little roller. I did that a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, when I was out there painting with that kind of old, needs to possibly be thrown out version of my pretty brush there yesterday, I was like, why isn't enough paint getting on my brush? Why am I having to re-dip so often? And it's because now I'm used to using these paint pixie brushes, and I don't know if I held this up there a while ago. I did, because of to show you that you just put the paint on the tips, but look how thick that thing is. And this is in comparison to my purdy brush. You see why and how it holds so much more paint. I mean, there's just so much more surface area. It's a good weight to it too. Normally I always want the short handled brush, that's why I've always used these, but this one's sort of made to fit a girly hand. I do believe this is pretty dang close to dry. It's not all the way dry, but probably dry enough for me to start putting on a second coat. If I don't use too much water, because the water will reactivate the bottom layer of this paint. So we're going to see what's fixing to happen now as I dipped my brush in some water. You're not supposed to do what I'm doing right now, which is dip my brush right in here. So pretend you didn't see me do that, because I don't want to contaminate my paint. This is my sample size of it, and I'm going to have plenty left after I do this project. But I wouldn't double dip like that if it was my big can. You could pour it out in a little styrofoam bowl or paper plate, or even if you don't want to, use things like that aren't as good for the environment, you can use a reusable glass bowl or plastic bowl, whatever that you have. A lot of people use like the Tupperware style. I hate to say Tupperware, but because that's an actual brand name. But the plastic with a lid style of reusable bowls, and they move their paint enough for the particular project that they're working on. They move enough of that over into those that they can dip straight in it and not contaminate the rest of their container. And I'm doing my best to do what I told you about the work from wet to dry. But also, my mind has a mind of its own, so I'm coming down and then starting back up from the bottom because I can't help myself. But this is a very small area, a small piece just going down this leg, so I don't think it's going to make that much difference on this leg. This is going to be so cute. I'm excited. Now I'm going to want to give it to Jewel or Jesslyn. Those are my granddaughters. Don't know how I can stay in business if every project I do I want to keep or give to somebody that I love.
Same thing.
You do the same. Candy says she does the same thing. She'll start sewing something for the store and intend on Jesslyn to be her model. Next thing you know, that's Jesslyn's outfit. I know how that goes. Oh, I hate that when I stick my head under here, now I see all this underneath that needs to be painted, and I don't know whether to leave it white. I think I'll leave it white at this time, and I'll come back with that French round brush and just sort of top up in the edges to make it, clean lines and things like that, but leave a portion of that white underneath. I don't see the need in, it wouldn't be wasting paint, but it would be spending more time on it than I would be interested in spending on it. I'm one of these like to get my project started and like to check it off my list kind of gals. Some people are awesome at starting a project and working on it for days, even weeks at a time and things like that. I have no idea how people have the patience to do that. When I start something, I want it done. I want to check it off my list. I do a lot of paintings and things here and at home. I have ran out of wall space up here to put all the ones that I've painted and made lately. Don't know where I'll even put them, but I want to know what I'm doing. Gonna do. Say if I decide I'm gonna paint a cow, which was my last project, I wanted to paint a cow. Well, by golly, I was ready to paint a cow. I had a cow on my mind. It was a cow that I wanted to paint, and it was a cow that I did paint. And I like to get in my little studio area and paint that cow, and I did. And I usually I spend about probably 4 hours on most of those paintings, and that's on the what I consider to be the creative, enjoyable, creative, enjoyable part of that. I don't know why I didn't use this stamp rag to wipe that other off a while ago, because while it's damp, you can go all the way down and get that off. That's the good thing about this paint as well. But anyway, whenever I'll sometimes go in and say, okay, this weekend I have a goal and I'm going to paint, I want to paint churches, and I can't decide what kind of church I want to paint. So I'll paint 6 churches or 7 or 8 or whatever number I pick at the time. And so I'll start during the week preparing my mind for what I'm going to work on the weekend. And then during the week I'll start on, have a loose hair here. They say if you leave this hair out of the brush there until it dries, then you can just rub your finger back over it a little bit after it's dry, and then it'll come right off and you'll never see where it was at. But I've not had the patience for that yet. But anyways, I will decide I'm going to do the churches, then I'll decide on maybe backgrounds or something that doesn't take any sort of much thinking, any brain juice out of me or anything, and I'll just make a bunch of backgrounds, and I'll make them in, pinks and blues and greens or drips or whatever it is that comes to my mind about the paintings, and I'll do the backgrounds, and then the painting will come to me. So by the time the weekend comes, I have what do you call those things? I can't think of what the word is. Easels. I have easels all over that room, and they'll all have a background on them. And then it's just like it comes to me. I know what church goes on what background, so I can just grab one and boom, it comes out. The church is on there. Grab the next one, boom, and that's how I can finish 8 paintings in a weekend, is because I do it in a series. Once I have chickens or churches or cows or whatever it is on my mind, and my mind starts thinking about it around the clock, and then I get the backgrounds done. Then once the motivational aspect of the creativity spark or whatever you want to call it, once it's ready, I can just knock them out and enjoy every single minute of it. It's not like it's a job to where if I had to paint for a living and they told me I had to paint 8 churches this week, I don't know that I could do it. So everybody's going to have their own, I guess, method to their madness, and that's the method to my madness. This is, I guarantee you right now, this process I'm doing with this painting is lowering my blood pressure. That's what I love so much about doing this kind of activity. I'm enjoying myself. I'm making something creative, something that somebody else is, I've got water coming out the bottom, that somebody else is going to be able to use and enjoy. I know that, some little girl is going to really enjoy this. And just the repetitive nature of brushing back and forth on it, going down, trying to, get all the edges, look to make sure I don't get any drips and things like that. That's sort of mindless. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm having to concentrate and worry during the time when I'm creating something beautiful, whether it be with paint or scrapbooking or paper, things like that. During that time, I'm not worrying. I'm not worrying about everybody at work, or whether my customers feel good, or what's the latest study on this supplement or that supplement, making sure I'm up to date on everything. During the time when I'm painting, that's all I'm worried about, is my hand moving back and forth. and it is so relaxing. I mean, there's not a lot of brain juice or effort going into this procedure here, and you can see how fast it goes. Goodness gracious, if I wasn't sitting here talking 90 miles a minute at the time, I could probably finish twice as fast. But I'm about to have the second coat finished on the entire piece, and just some touch-ups still to do on the golden ticket, and then decide what I'm going to do to the top part. But I'm going to leave that part until tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow, and then overnight I'll just dream up what I need to do, whether I need to, I don't think I'll leave it white, but I'm trying to decide whether to take that part that was on the top that the two little drawers go in, trying to decide whether to paint those pink or whether to go ahead and paint those with the golden ticket, with the liquid patina, and have them be gold. But I'm thinking right this minute that I'm going to go pink, and I'm probably also thinking that I'm not going to be able to control myself, and I'm going to paint it pink in just a minute as soon as I finish this procedure I'm doing right now on this one. I'm hoping, I have my husband cutting out some angel wings. I saw these angel wings. I was in a group. You about to leave for the day? Candy's gonna leave for the day.
You're still watching Miss Juanita?
All right. You'll be here tomorrow?
See you tomorrow.
All right. See you tomorrow. Love you. Bye. Lock that door. Forgot what I was talking about. Oh, anyways, whenever I finish this little part here, I'm not going to be able to stop. Then I'm like already in sync and in the mood and going with it. So I'm probably going to go ahead and paint that pink real quick, because I know that's what I'm going to want. But other times and other projects, I would claim that I'm going to sleep on it overnight and stop and maybe go down and cook dinner or eat dinner or whatever. And then whenever I get back to my studio, which is right off my bedroom, I would be midnight tonight, not able to control myself from going ahead and doing whatever it was that my brain decided was going to be the end of that project. I hope this looks how I want it to look. I'm so excited about it. Anytime, if you have any questions about the DIY paint or the paint brushes or painting pictures or painting furniture, waxing, the distressing and all that kind of stuff, if I know, just ask anytime if that's what you would like more information on. And if I don't know the answer to it, I'll find the answer to it. I follow so many creative people on YouTube and on Facebook where they do live videos and they do trainings, and you learn so many great new techniques to be able to work with these projects and feel confident about it. This is drying. It's not going to be real smooth through the drying process, but I'm not going to keep you on there. Expect when you see this next for it to be pink. I just decided I would go ahead and paint this pink, and that's the top part. So I'm going to work on that now, and also I'm going to put some golden ticket on the hardware. I will do that right now with that rounded brush, but it still has pink on it, so I'm not going to make you stay there and watch me rinse out my brush again to do that. But thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon, and I'll come back with pictures of this project hopefully tomorrow afternoon. Thanks. Bye.